Hello, I have a scrapbook layout planned for you today. I am going to be creating a tropical themed layout using the Otterly Adorable collection. So I've got a couple photos here from a trip to Maui from several years ago. You can see we are hanging out in the swimming pool there by the resort, and I think this paper is going to work beautifully. So if you've been hanging around my channel for a while, you've probably already seen the first layout I created where I actually did have otters in my photos, but you'll see how well this paper lends itself to tropical themed photos. Since I only have two photos, this is going to be a single page layout. I do have some scraps here too from the first layout. So this has this gorgeous blue watery look on one side and the otters. So I'm going to try to incorporate some of these scraps into the layout here. But I'm thinking I just want to stack my photos like this and then bring in lots of paper layers. So I'm thinking I really love this paper here. It just has a really tropical vibe, and you would either, since it has a direction to it, you would either want to do a strip maybe across the bottom, or you could do one coming in on the side. And then I want to take advantage of this because it mimics the pool water, and since we are kind of limited, we don't want to go this way because again, it has a direction. So it's kind of looking like maybe some long columns are going to work really well. There is another color of water paper in this particular collection, but I think I like the brighter blue. We could even bring in this little fish paper. Since we just need a few strips, we could do something like that. But I think I like the foliage. It just kind of captures the tropical vibe of the resort, all the plants in the background. So I do like that. And then I was thinking we could bring in maybe some of this pattern paper. So it's got the otter scene on one side, but these little colorful pebbles on the other. And I think that picks up all of the colors, our skin tones, bathing suits, and just things like that in the photo. So maybe we can kind of layer those in. So now I just have to decide how wide to make my paper cuts. So maybe if we only need a little bit, maybe come in an inch, and then we can bring in our water. Now I only have 3 inches, so if I wanted to make sure to put that on both sides, I need to be, kind of just mindful of that. And then this one, let's bring this in. What if we bring this out a little more, and then maybe just do some layers like this, and then actually let's bring this down. I like having different layers. I just think it adds interest and really just, or highlights that layered look. Okay, I'm gonna go cut these down. I'll be right back. I've got my 3 strips here. The water paper is 11 inches tall by like 2 inches wide. This one is 9 inches tall, and then here we have a 1 inch by 12 inch piece. So I want them looking like this, but I'm a little bit bothered these two patterns together. I think it's just kind of a little visually chaotic, so we need to separate them with a solid piece of cardstock. So this is Pretty Peacock, which is one of the coordinating colors in this collection. I cut a tiny little strip. I just want about 1/4 of an inch. Actually, it's probably a little less than that, peeking out. And then again, that's just helping to separate the patterns so it's more visually pleasing. Now, I don't have much of this water paper, so I grabbed some of the balmy blue cardstock to mat my photos. I think I'll mat them both on one piece, and then we can bring this same foliage paper in from the right hand side, and then again repeat that separation with the Pretty Peacock cardstock here. I'm just dry fitting everything onto the page for now so I can make sure I'm happy with how this is looking before committing to adhering it down. That is too short. I'm not sure what I did there, so I just went and cut another piece that's a full 12 inches in length. And I think that we're just going to do the foliage paper over here because I don't have a lot of room. We might even kind of overlap the photos or connect them to that side. For the embellishments, I have the Happy Hibiscus stamp bundle, and it has an embossing folder. So this is one of those hybrid embossing folders where the dies coordinate with not only the stamp, but also with the embossing folder. So you could just emboss and die cut them, or you can stamp them. It kind of clicks in and you get these three hibiscus flowers right in the center there. I'm actually not going to use the embossing folder. I just want to do some stamping today. My ink color is Calypso Coral, and I'm going to stamp these onto white cardstock. So we've got the outline. I'm going to pick that up with the Misty Door. This is a layering stamp, so I do find it really helpful to have a stamp positioner, but you don't have to. So let's ink up in Calypso Coral, the outline of this hibiscus flower. And then I only have this one color because I'm at a retreat and I didn't bring all of my stamp pads. So what I'm going to do to get a lighter version of this is to do second generation stamping, or stamp off one time. So that is our outline. Let me go ahead and set this aside. And then we have these three individual flowers. I'm lining them up with the outline. I do find it easier to stamp the darker outline first and then line up the inner portion. It helps when you can kind of lean over a little bit to see, but I don't want to put my head in the camera. So let's go ahead and pick this up with the stamp positioner door there. And now for stamping off, I want to put in a clean piece of cardstock. We're going to ink up our flowers and then stamp them onto the cardstock. So this is first generation. Now set that aside, put your outline back in. We're not re-inking, we're stamping again, and we've stamped off, so this is second generation. So you can see the difference there, and I'm going to use both of those. So I'll go ahead and set these aside. I've got them all die cut out. I always find it easiest to start with the largest floral first, and I know I want an embellishment cluster in this lower corner. So that one is over the top of the photo. This one I'm going to layer behind the photo, and you'll notice I'm mixing the different color of hibiscus. So let's create another one up here and then one in the top right hand corner. So that forms that visual triangle, which is the easiest way to embellish. It's not the only way. It would look nice with two diagonal clusters also. I think I'm pretty happy with this. So before I get too carried away with my embellishing, I want to ink up my edges and get my paper layers adhered down. So I've got some pretty Peacock ink, and I'll go around the different pattern papers. As I mentioned, these were taken several years ago. It was my very first close to my heart incentive trip, and I did not know anyone. I had been with the company at that time for almost 15 years, but had never gone to an event. I was kind of shy. And I earned this trip and ran into Sunday in the grocery store, and she recognized me from YouTube, and she was so nice, invited me back to come and hang out at the pool and introduced me to a bunch of fellow makers, and her and Naomi were so kind, and it was just great conversation and so good to meet others. So I've got this little hibiscus leaf here, and I cut those from Old Olive, and I want to tuck these into the different clusters around the page. This is the two-toned version of the Old Olive cardstock, so I cut some on the light side and some on the darker side. I don't think I intended to do that. I'm just noticing that I did, but that's okay. I think it's fun to have the lighter and darker shades. So we'll put some kind of up here, and I'm liking that. It's coming together nicely. Now I have this sea turtle stamp, and this is a really neat stamp because you've got two different turtles. There's the big one and then a smaller one, but they're reversible. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to get a layered two-tone look with one stamp. I haven't actually used this, so I got to be careful peeling it off of the backing there. So you want to put the smooth side down, which would be the back of the stamp, and it's going to give us a solid image. I am going to use the same Old Olive ink, and I want this to be lighter, so we will need to stamp off, and I'll show you how I'm going to do that. So ink it up, and then let me move the magnet here, stamp down. Oh, hello, Dave. He's coming by to say hi. So there's full strength. Now flip your cardstock over. Oops, he's going to put a paw print right on that or step in my ink pad. So I did not ink it up again. We're stamping down. Now we're going to get a lighter version of that Old Olive. David is being very persistent and insisting on a little attention, so let me give him some and then we will relocate him. So I'm cleaning off my stamp, and now we are going to actually flip it over to the detailed side of this little sea turtle image, lining it up, and then make sure that paper is back in the corner each time. So you can see it kind of sticks to the stamp and pulls up. Now we're going to use our same old olive ink and stamp our detailed layer. And I think this sea turtle is so realistic. I just really was excited about getting this one. There is not a coordinating die, so I'm going to go ahead and fussy cut that image out. And then I'm thinking we've got a lot of space over here, and I think that looks pretty cool. For my title, I stamped out Keeping Cool by the Pool. This is a retired stamp from my stash called Beach Party, and it kind of blends in with the background, but maybe if we put the Calypso coral on either side, I like that. I think that looks good. It kind of jives with the foliage paper, but yet it's still easy to read. Now here is a sneak peek at a brand new product coming out. It's called Elements of Text. You guys know how much I love my backgrounds texture stamps. I've got the Pool Party ink here, and I am going to use this splatter stamp. It's this image right here. There's a couple different ones on there, but I love it because I have some text stamps, but none in that cursive. So I'm super excited to add that one to my collection. So I'm using this little splatter stamp to add some splashes, if you will, that will come out from each of my embellishment clusters. I'm repeating that same stamping technique in each of the clusters, and I'm rotating the stamp so that it doesn't look, you want to just kind of alter it so it has a very organic look. And we'll tuck some in here around our little sea turtle, maybe kind of coming out from the bottom of that flower. And I think that is going to probably be enough. Yeah, I like it. Let me get this out of the way, and then I can adhere these down. I'm excited to have the sea turtle and the Happy Hibiscus stamp set in my collection because I still have quite a few photos from this Maui trip. There's another Hawaii trip, and then we went to Mexico where we actually swam with sea turtles, so this is going to be absolutely perfect. I did cut a few more leaves, and I am tucking those in where I feel like it needs just a little something something. I know a lot of you enjoy creating double page layouts, and I do too, but I only had these 2 photos. But I think this would very easily carry on to a right-hand side, just continuing those columns. And then I probably wouldn't put 3 clusters of flowers on this layout if I were doing a double page. I would save that 3rd cluster for the far side of the right page. Now this is a tab punch from the Keeping Tabs bundle, and I want to put just a little detail up here. I've got my Peacock ink, and this word says memories. Little tabs are a great way to add the date or fun little descriptive words like I'm doing here. That was totally crooked, so I'm going to flip that over and try it again on the back side here. That looks better. We'll tuck it under. And the word memories is from the, nope, not that one. Where is it? This Love This Moment stamp set. So there's great little journaling words on there, and it's a neat little stamp for scrapbooking. I went ahead and printed out my journaling on cardstock using my printer. I'm cutting it into strips, and then I want to kind of trim up the front and back of these so that they are flush with the text, and then I'm going to put them towards the bottom of the layout under the photos there. I just talked about meeting Sunday in the grocery store and her introducing me to many other makers and how fun it was to hang out by the pool with good conversation and lots of business wisdom being shared. Isn't that turtle so cool? So all of the supplies, you can find those in the description box below. And if you'd like to see other layouts featuring this particular paper collection, you definitely want to watch this video right here. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I'll have still shots up over on Facebook, Pinterest, or Instagram if you want to see those details up close, and I'll see you soon.